Welcome back, Fat Boys. We're up here in Hope Sound at Broward Motorsports doing an Indian motorcycle demo day. Today they got a whole bunch of bikes out here for us to give us a nice test ride. We got the FTRs, the Chieftains, all kinds of cool bikes. This demo day is going to be a first time point of view of me riding Indian motorcycles. This is coming from the point of view of a Harley Rider. I generally have only ridden Harleys. I have never ridden any Indian motorcycles before. So this is going to be a raw and first time impression of all the Indian motorcycles that I do ride today. Let's get to it. Alright guys, let's get this demo started. We're gonna take the FTR 1200 for a nice little test ride. We're in sport mode. Ooh, sport mode is twitchy. Let's go ahead and put that in standard so I don't hurt myself. Alright, this is a first ride and impressions. Just to see how this feels. The bike feels really tall. This is the older model of the FTR. Clutch feels good. Ooh, it's got some nice get up and go, I'll tell you that much. Feels like I'm really sitting on top of this bike, and I kind of like it. The leg position is kind of up. It's kind of back. You're kind of in a more relaxed, sporty position. It's not quite so aggressive, but I really like it. So about this bike, you also got cruise control that you can go ahead and set just like that. The throttle response feels really good too, which I'm quite surprised about. You also got a really nice display, and it clearly displays what gear you're in. You see all the RPMs. It's really nice and digital. It's really high tech. I really like it. Even tells you your temperature outside. Holy crap, and direction. This is nice. Downshifting feels a little iffy, kind of hard to do. But it's alright. So far, my first impressions are that I really like this bike. It seems to have a pretty good, actually a better power to weight ratio than I expected. Really moves and has like a high RPM. Like I'm at 4,000 and this feels pretty relaxed on the bike. You still feel the rumble, which I kind of like. It doesn't feel like a normal sport bike where it's just kind of, if I was at 4,000, it'd just be sleeping, asking me what the hell I'm doing. But right now, this bike feels really relaxed at this RPM, and it feels like it still has more to do. This is a pretty tall bike. I'm already moving, and my legs are already all the way down. And it's still not touching the ground right now. Ooh, and the turn signals are self-canceling. That's nice. I am noticing, since I am sitting pretty much right on top of this bike and right over the engine, that the engine itself is actually pretty warm. I am noticing the heat coming from underneath my legs. So that's kind of interesting. You actually can feel the heat of it pretty well. But man, even in standard mode, the throttle is a little bit twitchy. It's really twitchy, right in between that 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. It's kind of where it's in its happy spot of torque, I guess. Let's see if we get an opportunity to open up. Even though this is 1,200 cc's, it's not uncontrollable, unlike a lot of liter bikes. It's not gobs amount of power, which is kind of nice. It's a nice way to have a lot of power without being too much, and yet also like a good sized engine. It feels almost like a 600 sport bike in a much better seating position. The suspension on it feels really good too, so I haven't noticed any bumps at all. So this might actually be like a good option if you ever wanted to go out and maybe do some off-roading. This bike has a height that you might want, and it's relatively light too, so I feel like this would be really good if you for multiple scenarios in which you would want to ride. It does feel like a sport bike in the sense of where it just kind of can rev out as much as you want it to for a long time. I can now see why Dan the fireman really likes this bike. It's really good. Ooh, gobs of horsepower up there. This throttle is really twitchy at certain RPMs. I'm even in standard mode. I'm not even in sport mode right now. There we go. Now we're in sport mode. The truck driver was telling me when you're in sport mode, just don't pin it because you will loop it, which is kind of crazy to think about from an Indian motorcycle. Yeah, there's that twitchy spot right there, right about 4,000 RPMs. Brakes feel good, nice and smooth, nice and tight. Definitely sport oriented brakes. Yeah, here you can see I'm tiptoeing this bike right now, and I'm 5'11" with a 32-inch inseam. So this bike definitely is not for the shorter rider. Woo! There we go. I'm gonna let him pull away just a little bit, and third gear pull. Yeah, there we go. That's some good horsepower. That's a good pull right there. No, this bike really wakes up in the higher RPMs, just like any other sport bike would. This feels good. And now for cruising, set it and forget it. Freaking love cruise control on a motorcycle. So amazing. I can use my hands. And then to cancel, you should be able to just roll forward a little bit and it turned off. This is great, man. I don't think you can go wrong with this bike. For kind of a all-around wanna-do-it-all bike. If you wanted to just go long distances, you could do that comfortably. If you wanted to go off-road, you could do that also. If you wanted to try tracking this bike, I feel like you could do that also. Ooh, we're coming in this way. So that's the FTR 1200. If you like it, let me know what you think about it. And let's go ahead and start to get on the next bike. So we got the Indian Springfield Dark Horse at 116 cubic inches. Really excited to try out this bike. I've always loved the look of them. Ooh. This feels long. Sounds pretty good. So this is Indian's version of the Road King. Road King special. Alright guys, let's go. First impressions. First thing I've noticed is that it actually sounds pretty good. I am, however, feel like I'm really reaching for these handlebars, but the seat height is actually pretty good. I'm very easily flat-footing it, as you can see. They got the nice floorboards. They feel a little high to me, but it's just different. It's not bad. Can't wait to see what this thing feels like when we start to get on it. Woo! That's a pretty good pull. Let's see. Let's pull back just a little tiny bit. Fourth gear pull, and 3, 2, 1. It's pretty good. It's got some good pull through the numbers. Now that I've actually shifted my positioning just a little bit, it does feel a little bit better. It feels a little bit more relaxed. I am also a fan of this matte black coloring. The clutch is good. I believe it's a cable clutch, which I'm a fan of. I like cable clutches. I'm not a big fan of hydraulic clutches. The throttle response also feels really good. There's not any modes, I believe, on this, but it still does feel really nice and responsive. Not twitchy or anything, just has a nice even pull, very cruiser-esque. Also has a nice, pretty good stock note in the exhaust. And engine braking feels pretty good. It's a little hard, so you have to rev it out a little bit more in order to get the engine braking to start. But other than that, and the brakes feel really good too. This bike actually feels really low in comparison to a lot of other bikes, a lot of other baggers specifically. Huge ass gas tank. That's what I'm just noticed for now. Holy crap. So can't imagine how many, really curious how many miles you could actually get on one tank. But I am really kind of a fan of the look of the Dark Horse Springfield. This looks really good. It feels really good. Seems to handle pretty decently. Has a pretty good even pull handle. It turns into the turns really well. Another one of my favorite things about this bike, and it's just the little things, is that it already comes with bags, so you don't have to go out and buy any other bags to add on to this. But at the same time, it's not a full-on bagger in the sense of the word, to where it has the fairing, it has the music system, it has the GPS, the navigation. I'm personally not a fan of all that stuff. I think a lot of that stuff is just overkill and unnecessary for a lot of people. I always have my phone up on my handlebars for navigation and music, and it plays into my headphones, plays into my helmet. So it works for me. That's what works for me, and that's what I like to use, because I always wear the full face helmet, so it works. I don't need a fairing because I want the airflow through my head. I don't mind a little mini fairing that would be there to take the wind off my chest on a long distance, but I still want wind on my head to allow the airflow through. So this bike feels really nice without having all of the BS that a lot of full-on baggers may have. But another thing I've noticed is that I feel like this bike looks really badass. I feel like whoever's riding this, they know they're gonna look like a total badass. It completely blacked out, already has a pretty good exhaust tone. You're in a really nice, like, ape hanger handlebars position with your feet up. You're gonna be comfortable, and you're gonna look cool doing it. And speaking of comfortable, this seat is actually really good. I'm not noticing any sorts of place of discomfort. Woo, there we go. And the seat has a good amount of stick, so you're not really moving around on it. And it feels like it's really holding you in place. not gonna lie, I think I actually like this more than the Harley Road King Special. This thing's got gobs of power. Oh my god. No, good job, Indian. I like this bike a lot. You did it right. Man, this bike feels so comfortable. Oh my god. I wish the handlebars would come back just a little bit more. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Damn, this bike feels good. It's got a good amount of vibrations in it. It moves. It sounds good. The styling is nice. I like this a lot. So if you're really thinking about getting this, if you're contemplating getting this bike, I believe this bike is more for the person to where they want the comfort. They want to be able to go touring. They want to be able to go across the country. They go from state to state with ease. But they don't necessarily want all of the bullshit of having a full fairing and having... Woo! Oh god. They don't want the bullshit of having a full fairing. This bike just keeps pulling, man. This bike is also just for the people that want to have fun while being comfortable. Holy crap. This bike is really for the person that wants to be comfortable and be able to travel without having all the bullshit of having a full fairing and having all of the unnecessary gadgets that you may not need or want in a bike. This is kind of a bare bones bike, but it has all of the power and still the technology that you're going to want. It has ABS, it has the traction control, it has all of the safety features that you may need, and it feels fucking comfortable. And it's also going to be for those people that just like to have fun on a motorcycle while being comfortable, being able to open it up, make a performance bagger, and you're still going to have all the bags to where you might need to be able to put stuff in. You're not going to have all of you're not going to have all of the BS, but you're still going to have the fun, you're still going to have the comfort, and you're going to have the distance and the power to be able to do everything that you want on this bike. I think this is a great bike for pretty much anyone. I kind of wish I got this bike, actually. Not gonna lie. Maybe this will be my next bike. Who knows? Maybe if the channel keeps growing and the content keeps rolling out, maybe this will be my next bike. We'll find out. Here we go. We can really see how this suspension feels over these. Oh my god, that felt like nothing. Didn't even notice it. Felt that one a little bit, but god, that's still nothing. There's like nothing to those. This is such a smooth, happy bike. Something I don't like about this is that I feel like a lot of the controls are actually kind of have to really reach for them. Okay, let's create just a little bit of distance. There we go. Man, this thing's got so much pull. Their RPMs, I felt like, barely went up and still had so much more to go. So if you're wondering about the numbers on this bike, I will put them up right here. But, oh man, you can't go wrong with this bike. I feel like it handles really well. Feels like a really well-rounded bike. The brakes feel really good too. We're pulling back into the floor. Awesome, and we're back, guys. All right, I just want to say a huge shout out to Broward Motorsports for hosting this demo day, and thank you Indian Motorcycles for doing these demo days and allowing riders to come out and actually test ride your bikes. Does not disappoint. Love them, and thank you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.